Chris, pretty exciting time of the year for you. Tell us about the preparation for the draft coming up.
Yeah, we've got our scouts in town. We're up in the auditorium. We got the board set up, a lot of good debates, talking about a lot of future big leaguers, and we've got about 5 days.
I mean, this is a year of work all culminating down to this time. How much fun is it to sort of have all these people in there, have these discussions, and sort of filtering out what the final verdict is on some of these decisions?
We're having fun. We try and keep it simple, right? We had a lot of scouts see these guys for years, and now we're having good, healthy debates about this guy or that guy, and stack the board best you can.
I know you're always positive about the draft, but is there anything that you see in particular that's a strength of this draft? I know you can find positives in just about every quadrant, but anything that stands out this year?
Not really. I do think, and I've said it a lot, I think the college pitching is heavy this year. There's a lot of high school athletes that we're interested in, so I think being ready on all quadrants.
As far as the debates go, is it more where a guy should go in a certain spot on the draft, or is it what you see as his upside and weaknesses, or a combination of all those things?
Yeah, I think all that, and a lot of head-to-head debates, or like, hey, we've got 4 guys matched up, and how are we going to order these, stack of 4 left-handed pitchers, right? So I think you're just trying to get as accurate as you can.
And how does that go in terms of, you've got a veteran, some guys have been there for 40 years or more, and other guys that might just be starting out. Does everybody get a chance to express what they need to say?
No, and we like to say, if you've got something to say and you're convicted on it, you need to feel open enough to bring that up, and we like to have an open room in those discussions, and I think that's how you get the best information.
How does 2 days condensed from 3, how does that, if at all, change anything, and kind of the picks stacking on top of each other?
It's going to be interesting, right? In the past, you would end after round 10 and then have all night to kind of get prepared, rounds 11 through 20. I think now we only have like an hour break. So that's some stuff we're strategizing right now, what that's going to look like, and probably do some simulation stuff to be ready for that.
You're talking about the combine meetings that you had. How does that prepare you for when AJ signs Nick Pivetta and that eats into your draft? Like, you got less money to work with, but you do more homework than almost anybody.
Yeah, I think getting as much information you can, meeting with as many players as you can. You're looking for an edge, right? And I think the more information you have and meeting with a lot of players might give us a bit of an advantage.
It's obviously isn't the first time AJ's signed a guy and kind of impacted like where you're drafting, when you're drafting. How have you learned kind of to handle the whole thing?
Anytime we're making a move to get an all-star and get this team better, keep 40,000 coming in here every night, and we lose a pick or lose some draft pool money, I don't care. We'll find depth to draft guys, and it's a good challenge. We like it.
As far as the psychology of the players, it seems like you guys go as deep as anybody in terms of really trying to understand who these players are as people. How much does that help in the decision-making process, and how does it help in terms of when we see finished products come up here to the big leagues? Maybe not finished, but when they get into the big leagues, very few of them seem like they're overwhelmed by the situation. How much is that the work that you guys put in at the beginning, and who you choose?
I think it's huge. There's times where we're following guys since their 9th grade year of high school, right? And hey, this guy could be a phenom, and we're sticking around guys for years, working guys out, doing in-home meetings, doing the combine meetings. So I think creating relationships and knowing who we're getting. So when I talk to Riley Westman or Mike Daly or James Keller on the PD side, we know exactly what we're getting into, and they have a better plan to go attack.
How much you guys did? Go ahead, Jeff.
You haven't taken a college player in the first round since Cal, I believe, right? Montreal. Is that just the way the board lines up? Or,
Yeah.
I mean, you guys do work in high school area.
Yeah, no, I think like right now there's college guys in discussion, that we're looking at now. Really, that's just kind of how it's, best player available and highest upside stuff, and it's just been high school lately. But I think we're right in the mix to take anything this year, late first round.
Is there ever like a tiebreaker, like this team, needs some depth up here, needs to come through Double A and Triple A maybe sooner? Ever break a tie in the college?
Yeah, I think this morning we had some healthy debates about like, hey, this group of guys could be here quick, right? Versus, hey, this group might be a long play. And I think all throughout the rounds you're going to have those debates of, development guy and upside versus, hey, this guy could be here kind of quick. So those discussions get brought up a lot.
How about the interaction between the scouting and the player development side?
Yeah.
Because obviously you see things in certain guys that might be able to be improved. Other things, no, that's who he is. So how much that goes on with the player development side in terms of what you guys see?
Yeah, I think whether it's an AJ Ellis, an Alan Craig, we have guys helping us out in combine meetings, or they're sitting in the draft room. Hey, Jake Peavy was sitting in the draft room yesterday and getting different perspectives from guys that have played in the big leagues. Riley Westman's in the draft room, our farm director. So like really including the experience and the player development's huge.
Because the fact that like you have pretty much all of your first round picks lately have either Jackson's here or you've traded them for guys that are big leaguers that are here now. What does that do to lay a foundation for like what you guys are doing now?
We just want to keep the momentum rolling. Keep creating value. Whether it's a guy like Jackson that gets here, or it's a guy that ends up in a trade that helps us get a Jason Adams or more All-Stars, right? Luis Arise. It's fun, and we're ready for anything.
Let me ask you about a few of your minor leaguers while you're here.
Sure.
Okay. Leo DeVries, obviously first full minor league season, still very young. He's had some stretches where he's really, really done well. Your thoughts on what he's done so far?
Proud of him. A lot going on, right? 18 years old, Midwest League's tough assignment for anybody. He loves to compete, and I think he's on the right trajectory, and I'm just proud of him, man.
What was kind of the organization's goal for him heading into this year, because he's so young and playing at an advanced level?
Challenge him, right? The first time we saw Leo, he's playing against guys that are 30 years old, playing against really veteran competition at a young age, and we just want to kind of keep challenging him. He's ready for that.
Braden Nett, another young pitcher that had a big spring and then has done some really nice things in the minors this year. What have been your thoughts about the way he's pitched?
A lot of credit to our player development. I feel like we kind of took like a athletic raw piece of clay, right, when we took Braden that hadn't thrown a lot of innings that year, and to see what our player development group has done with him as a person and as a pitcher, I'm just proud of everyone involved with Braden.
Do you feel like he's pretty close to major league ready for when that opportunity arrives?
Yeah, I watch from afar, his video and stuff, and I'll talk to guys in player development and maybe give my thoughts, but do I think he could help us here at some point this year? Yeah.
You've got a couple of pitchers that you took early in the draft last year, Bateman, Mayfield, that are in Lake Elsinore. What have you thought about the way they've kind of pitched so far this first go-round?
Throwing a lot of strikes, right? They're posting right now. I think Bateman, to see how deep he's going into games, to see the velocity climb, Cash with the changeup coming on, the strikeouts to walks are really impressive on both of them. To have them out pitching as high school arms in the Cal League, great experience.